All right, so you're thinking about moving to South Florida and you're trying to figure out what neighborhood is right for you. Well, listen, I've got to tell you, I'm not from here. And where I'm from, we didn't have homeowners associations all over the place. And maybe you do where you are, so you're aware of what that entails. But if you're not sure, if you don't have as many and you're coming here, it's definitely something that you need to think about. So today, we're going to talk about whether an HOA is right for you or not. Check it out. That's right. South Florida has homeowners associations all over the place, and you can find them in different colors, shapes, forms, condo associations. There's communities that have main associations and sub-associations, and you need to decide whether or not that's right for you. Listen, my name's Andy Johnson. I'm with the Andy Johnson Group over at eXp Realty, and this is what we do every day. And if this is your first time checking us out on the channel, before I get started, go ahead and ring that bell. Click subscribe so you get notified and learn everything there is to know about living in South Florida. So as I mentioned before, I'm not from here. Almost no one is. Native Floridians are a rare bird. Heck, I think they're almost extinct as a matter of fact. And so when we come from different areas, where we're from isn't always the same. And I've got to tell you, while we had homeowners association where I lived and we had some country clubs and things like that, it wasn't the same as when I came here. It was something new to me. And I realized that, it may be the same for a lot of you out there, considering whether or not you want a homeowners association. So I wanted to talk about some pros and cons of why you may or may not want to live in a homeowners association. This is definitely something that you need to consider. I will tell you, in Palm Beach County, there are a ton of them. I'd say probably, it'd be interesting. I wish there was a number, but I'd say easily over 50% of homes anymore are homeowners associations, and almost every new construction community is a homeowners association anymore in Palm Beach County. So let's dive in. Let's talk about some pros and cons of why you may or may not want to live with an HOA. All right, so let's start with some pros. Why might you want to live in an association? Well, depending on whether or not it's gated, security can definitely be one. Because I will tell you, the majority of our homeowners associations that have any significant homeowners association are going to have some level of security. But let's be clear about this. There are some HOAs out there. There's some that, they're $100 a year, and it maintains a sign by the front of the property. We're not really talking about those today. We're talking about properties that are going to range $300 to $600 anymore a month, and that's a pretty average homeowners association. Most of those are going to be gated. It's going to provide an additional level of security between you and someone being able to get to your house, and people definitely like that. The other great thing about homeowners associations is uniformity, right? You have restrictions as far as what people can do. You're not going to have a house painted like a zebra a couple doors down. You can't have a car up on blocks. You're not going to have boats in the driveway. Everybody's lawn is going to have to be mowed. So you have a lot of time a cleaner, more uniform feel. And a lot of people like that when they're thinking about living in a home. They don't want to have to worry about what their neighbors are going to do. The other great thing about living in an HOA often are the amenities that come along with it and the things that you may not have to worry about. So lawn care is a big one down here. Especially if you're coming up north or the Midwest, look, you may still mow your lawn. You may do your gardening. It's not a 12-month-a-year thing there. Here, you gotta mow year round, and most people don't want to do that, so when you get into these HOAs, a lot of these things are taken care of for you. They're going to take care of all the lawn care, cable's already taken care of, internet can already be taken care of, you have the neighborhood pool, a lot of time we have clubhouses, and there's a community called Evergreen actually right down the road. I love the amenities in there. They have an awesome clubhouse, a hopping pool, volleyball, basketball, it's always popping on the weekends. There's a bar at the pool, the fitness centers there. It's a really, really cool place. And if that's something that you want, it's definitely something that you should consider. And the one over in Evergreen, I think comes in right at like $500, but there's a lot of stuff that comes with it. All right, so that's some of the pros of why you may want to live in an HOA community. But now let's talk about the Cons. Why do you not want to live in there? One is the lack of flexibility that you are going to experience. I mean, listen, if you are a person that works on your vehicles in your driveway and that's a hobby of yours, you're not going to do it here. You can't park a boat, you can't have an RV. You're not going to be right. There's a lot of communities you can't have motorcycles. You can't even have RVs in some of these communities, let alone parked at your house. And so the restrictions that are placed on you are something that's really frustrating to some people. The color that you can paint your house, pavers that you can have. There are some that only allow so many trees and so many plants on your doorstep. So, if you're looking at them, you really do need to understand the rules and regulations, what's allowed, what's not allowed in a community to make sure that it pairs with your lifestyle. And listen, those gates, while they're wonderful for security, there can be times where they're a little bit frustrating if there's a little bit of a backup, or for instance, the community that I live in is gated, and there's a gate by my house. There's 4 gates into my community. 2 are manned with security guards, 2 are unmanned, resident only. I got to tell you, the 2 that are unmanned, when they break down, I've got to go to the other ones, and it takes a lot longer to get to my house. I mean, those are first-class problems, folks, but they're real. When they shut down, it can cause issues and it can cause problems getting into where you want to go, and that can be kind of frustrating. So the last one is, of course, what I mentioned before, which is to have these amenities, you have to pay for them. And that may not be something that you want. And then often, hey, you may be paying for some things that you don't want, right? I'll give you another example of the community that I live in. We have cable in here, and that may sound silly, but I don't watch cable. I don't turn cable on. I'm all streaming. I've got public channels for sports and things like that. I don't need cable, but I have to pay for it. So sometimes you're paying for things that you may not necessarily want, or if you don't want any of them, then you're paying for things that you absolutely don't want. And that's when HOAs and HOA fees can get kind of frustrating. So let's move to non-HOA communities and think, hey, why? That's right, why? Why a non-HOA community? Well, for the exact reasons we just discussed, right? You don't have to deal with an HOA. You don't have to worry about restrictions. Real quick, boats, RVs, motorcycles, things like this, let's be real clear there. There are a lot of municipalities that will not allow boats to be parked in driveways. So just side note, always check these things, but you can do what you want with your house as long as it is okayed by the municipality that you live in, right? Like, you can't necessarily grow a forest in your front yard. They'll hit you for that, but you can do what you want. Although, hey, in all fairness, we have places like the Acreage or Jupiter Farms that, man, if you really want to be able to do what you want but still live close to the beach and things like that, there are places that you can do it. You don't have to deal with the gates. You don't have to deal with the rules. You don't have to deal with the boards. You don't have to deal with rule changes. You don't have to deal with the money that comes along with an association. So basically, all the reasons that someone might want to live in there, if they sound horrible to you, then that's why you don't want to live in an association, and a non-HOA community is for you. So let's talk about where you can find these. Everywhere, both of them. But you got to know where to look. Like I said, new construction homes anymore, especially in Palm Beach County, are much harder to find in non-HOA communities. Most of the development that happens down here are by major builders, Toll Brothers, K. Havinian, GL Homes, and they come in and they build a subdivision. It's gated, they put rules and regs on the property, and it's going to come with an association fee and amenities. That's what they're building today. Now, you still can find infill lots in Palm Beach County, lots that haven't been developed within communities that don't have an HOA. Obviously, you can sometimes get things on the beach. A lot of the time what happens though with homes on the beach or more premium lots is there's already existing homes, and what we have people come do is just bulldoze those property and build what they want. But whether you want Boca, Delray, Jupiter, Juneau, Martin County, Port St. Lucie, it doesn't matter, we can get you non-HOA or HOA homes. St. Lucie probably has the biggest selection potentially. of non-HOA communities. I will say in general, you can find, older Florida homes if that's your style, non-HOA communities. But there's a never-ending selection. And listen, folks, it really is something that you want to consider. You need to be aware of the pricing. I'm going to tell you right now, what I've never seen is an HOA go down, right? The cost of an HOA never gets less expensive. So that's something that you have to be aware of. You have to price that into your cost of living and make sure it aligns with what you want. You need to make sure that the amenities provided are something that you want. And there are some real big benefits to them. There's some big drawbacks to them too. I mean, I've got to tell you, like I said, I live in one, and sometimes it just flat out irks me. It really, really does. Condo, I don't know personally if I could do it. I just don't like the level of control that other people have over my property in a condo. I get why people do them. It's a personal thing, and not to hop into condo associations, but that's that. And make sure, like I said, when you're looking, you understand, because a lot of communities have an HOA, homeowners association, and a POA, which is a property owners association. And you need to understand what it covers, and if there's more than one, how much it is. So listen, lots of things for you to digest, lots of things for you to think about as you're looking for your new home down here in South Florida. Please call us, like the video below, and if there's some other topic that you'd like to know about, learn about, like, hey, wholesaling properties, how to find properties off market, where you can get the best deals, send us a message or give me a call. We're here for you. Thanks for checking out the video.